I studied for 14 hours on my first general chemistry exam. 14. I reread the chapter 3 times. I highlighted until the whole page turned yellow. And I even rewrote my notes in nicer handwriting. And I ended up getting a 65. And the thing that really messed me up wasn't even the grade. It was because I walked into that room so confident I was prepared to take this exam. I'd seen all the information so many times, I felt like I owned it. When in reality, I didn't own anything. So this video here is the thing I wish someone had shown me, describing what active recall really is and why your brain chooses completely different than rereading, and how to set up Anki even if you've never opened up the app before. So make sure to stick around to the end because I made you guys something. One for everybody and one for somebody taking general chemistry. Okay, so here's what was actually happening to me. When you reread something, it gets easier to read, obviously. The words just stop surprising you. Your brain just goes, yup, that word's familiar, and confuses that for actually knowing it. Psychologists call this the illusion of fluency, and this is the most expensive mistake a college student can make. Because on exam day, nobody hands you a paragraph. They pass you a blank page and just ask you about Hess's law. Recognizing information and retrieving information are two very different skills. I practiced recognizing information for 14 hours, and I ended up getting tested on retrieving information. In 2013, a group of researchers went through the most popular forms of studying and ranked them based on how well they held up in real studies, highlighting low utility, rereading, low utility, summarizing, low utility. Two things came on top though: practice testing and spacing of practice over time. Those two things right there are the whole entire video. The rest is just logistics. Active recall is just pulling information out of your brain instead of putting it back in. Basically just closing the notes and asking yourself the question, do you know it or not? That's it. It's not complicated. It's just uncomfortable, which is why a lot of people don't do it. And I want to be very specific to tell you how it works, because me just saying it works isn't enough for you to completely change your whole studying routine. Think of a memory as a path through a field. Rereading is like looking at that path through a window. Retrieving information is like walking on the path. Every time you drag information out, the path gets more worn and easier to see over time. The effort is the mechanism. If it feels easy, you're not building anything. Students were asked to read a passage. One group was asked to reread it a bunch of times. The second group was asked to recall it straight from memory. After about 5 minutes of having the passage, the group that reread it a bunch obviously knew a lot more information than the group that just had to recall it. But just a week later, the group that reread it a bunch could only recall about 40%, versus the group that had to recall it could recall about 60% of the passage. That gap is the whole thing. Active recall feels worse in the moment, but beats rereading by a mile a week later. Second thing, forgetting isn't random. It's predictable. You lose what you've learned in the first day or two, then it kind of levels off from there, which means there's a best moment to review something, right as it starts to slip. Review too early and you're wasting time on stuff that you already know. Review it too late and you're relearning it from scratch. Doing this by hand across 5 classes is nearly impossible. You basically need a spreadsheet covering everything you learned and when's the last day you actually touched it. So that's what Anki is. It's your spreadsheet. That's generally my entire pitch for Anki. So go down below, hit the link and download Anki. It's free on Windows, Mac, and Android. On iPhone, it's $25 for the lifetime app, no membership cost at all. Make sure to make a free Anki web account too, because that's how your laptop and your phone all sync up. So you make the cards, then you just study them. A card comes up, you answer it in your head or out loud before you flip it. And I mean it, make sure you answer it. Don't just flip. Flipping without answering is basically just rereading with a couple extra steps. Then you rate it. You hit again if you blanked and you'll see the card in a few minutes. You hit hard if you got it, but it hurt. Good should be your default. I use this about 65% of the time. Easy means it was instant. And honestly, if you are putting easy for too many of your cards, that means your cards are way too simple. Based on what button you hit, Anki schedules that card for later on in the session, 2 days from now, 4 days from now, even weeks later. The algorithm is called FSRS and is trained on hundreds of millions of real reviews. So make sure you hit deck options and make sure that algorithm's on. It's much better than the older version. One more setting to change before you go: new cards per day. The default is 20. I have mine at 50. You don't want to overload yourself after coming off a lecture and having hundreds of cards. I think 50 is a good sweet spot for you to be able to retain as much information possible during an Anki session. If you're starting a new unit, you can turn it down because your test isn't for a few weeks, but as you get closer to exam, make sure to up the limit. Almost everyone quits Anki for these reasons, so let me save you the trouble. One card, one fact. Nobody wants to flip over a card and see a whole paragraph on the back of it. You'll fail that card forever, and you'll hate to see it when it comes up. So just break it into pieces. One card should have one fact. Don't skip days. Anki punishes people for skipping days. Let's say you skip Anki for a week, you'll open it up to 400 cards due and a small existential crisis. 15 minutes daily beats 2 hours on a Sunday night after watching football all day. Make cards the same day you learn the material. If you're making cards the night before an exam, you build a very complex set of index cards and thrown away the entire point of Anki. Understand it first. Anki is a memory tool, not a comprehensive one. If you don't understand the topic before you make a card on it, only memorizing will get you probably half the point on the exam. So make sure you understand the topic before you make a card. Okay, I have to admit, there's one caveat to Anki, and it's that physically making your own cards that are good take forever. A standard 50-minute lecture took me about an hour and a half to make all the cards needed. I'm not gonna lie, that's what caused me to quit Anki twice before it stuck. But I don't do that anymore. So here's my exact workflow. I open the voice memos app on my phone and let it run when class starts. That's it. I'm not doing anything fancy. I'm just using the app that the phone came with. One thing before I move along, make sure to ask professor it's okay to record. Sometimes professors can be a little finicky about recording, so make sure you have their permission before you go. Step 2. Voice memos will transcribe this recording in the app for you immediately. Tap the transcript icon, select all, and copy it. Now, the transcription is going to be very bad. Mine turns like molarity into mole-arity about 3 times every lecture. But that's expected. Anytime a professor points to something or writes something down, it's a lot of this equals that and this leads to that, which is expected again. Step 3, paste into the AI of your choice and copy my prompt. And this prompt needs to be very specific because just asking AI to make flashcards on a transcript will give you sucky cards. And I've tested this a lot. Just saying make me flashcards will give you 60 cards saying what is stoichiometry with a whole essay on the back of them. So I've built a prompt that does something more specific. It reads the entire lecture first and reconstructs the terms they think got mangled. It ranks it by how much your professor emphasized it. If your professor emphasized it multiple times, it'll get a card, versus when our office hours are, won't get a card. And it follows my rules. 1 card, 1 fact, with no essays on the back of them. And the best part is that it spits everything out already formatted for Anki import. So you're just pasting a file in, not typing any cards. The 2 parts of this prompt that I think are the most useful is that 1, at the end, it gives you a full list of terms that the AI thought the transcript got mangled. And it tells you the professor was either pointing or writing something down because the transcript can't pick that up. So you have to go in there and put the cards in yourself. So that turns 90 minutes into about 15 minutes of work. Step 4, and it's a crucial one. Read all the cards before you import them. This model can produce a well-written, confident, but very wrong card. Usually because the transcript ate something and it tried to patch it up. And that's the worst kind of error because you won't catch it. You'll go on to exam day and write the wrong answer down and get it wrong. So budget about 10 minutes, go through each card and make sure it looks like a real question. I throw out like 5 up to 10 cards every time I go through. And there's actually a second reason to do this pass. So you can see what's actually valuable to remember versus what isn't. If you hand that to a model and never look at it, you've saved an hour, but you've given up something. AI should be doing the typing, you should be doing the thinking. So there's 3 things in the description. Go down below to download Anki for free. The second link is the prompt. It's the exact prompt I use, no watered down mush, and it works for any class, not just science class. The second thing is for my general chemistry people, specifically. I've done the work. I've created a whole general chemistry 1 Anki deck. Stoichiometry, atomic structure, periodic trends, Lewis structures, everything. 1 fact per card like the way I designed, and it also comes free with the email. Now, disclaimer, I'm not gonna say that pre-made decks are gonna be better than yours. They aren't, ever. But a good pre-made deck beats the cards you were never going to make. Use mine as the base and add anything your professor's weirdly obsessed with, and use that prompt for everything else you're taking. Last thing, because I don't want to oversell this. Week 1 of this whole process is very tough. You'll be bad at it, it'll take a long time, and you'll wonder why you're doing this while everyone else is rereading the slides. Week 3 is where it flips. You'll get a card you haven't seen in 11 days and you'll reread it and be like, huh, I remember that. That feeling is the reason everyone's obsessed with Anki. I went from getting 65s on the exam to getting high 80s on the exam. Again, not an A, I'm not a genius, but I did help my score tremendously. I'm not claiming Anki did all of it, but the studying itself got shorter and it stopped being scary. And the reason for that was Anki. Prompt and the deck are both free in the description. If you're taking Gen Chem this semester, grab it before week 2, not the night before your exam. If you got something out of this video, please, you know what to do. And let me know down in the comments what content you want to see next. I'm Diego. We'll see you next time.